You know, we were talking about internal training, and one of the other topics that seems to be getting some traction is various certification programs and training. Do you think you're going to be able to get people within your firm interested in participating in that? Do you think, where's that going?
You know, I think they will, but I think a lot of it depends on, you know, who's doing the certification and who's setting the certification up. What is the makeup of the certification as far as, is it, you know, what is it covering? And, you know, I was thinking about this the other day. When you think about an e-discovery certification, you could almost think about a litigation support certification. I mean, there's a lot of things that fall into that. And when I think of a e-discovery certification, I mean, you could use the EDRM model if you wanted to, but it starts here. And to me, if you're going to certify somebody in e-discovery, it almost has to cover that whole model. And I'm talking there has to be a forensic component. I think there's got to be a processing and culling, or, you know, just a pure processing component, filtering. There's got to be a search, technology, and review. I think you need an ethics in law. I think there's got to be a piece of this that covers the law.
And so, realistically, can we do that? I mean, you're right. We're talking about a huge span of competencies there.
Yeah, you really are. And I think in order to do it justice, you almost have to cover all those areas. I think you need to have a section. It's almost like parts. I can think of it like whenever you do like a CPA exam, you've got certain parts. And to me, you've got to break it up into parts. You need a part, I think, to maybe cover a lot of what Sedona's doing and a lot of what EDRM is doing, but just a study of those to know how. But it's a lot. I mean,
and then is there, as you said at the beginning, is there an organization that's competent to do that really spans all of those core competencies? Browning and I have found that law schools are certainly not the venue for that.
Well, you would hope that it could come from the educational centers, but I don't know, because to me it maybe have to come from maybe the ABA. It's got to come from, you almost have to have a consortium of institutions pulled together, because it's a lot for anyone, to me, one organization to try to pull off. And for someone like in the private sector to try to do it, or I mean, like we had talked about, there's specific product certifications already out there.
Right.
And those are fine for product-based. But if you're going to do something that is going to elevate a person's knowledge and expertise in an area, to where if you went to that person and said, they're certified in e-discovery, that immediately means something. Not that it just like, I mean, and I'm not saying anything wrong with some of the certifications we have, but if you've got something that says, if someone says I'm certified in, let's say, maybe concordance or summation, then you pretty much say, okay, well, they know that. But have they been able to, what is their competency as far as actually being able to apply it and use it?
And one of Browning's concerns is, we've talked about this for quite some time, as we've butted our heads with different attempts to do it, is once you start using the word certification and attorney in the same sentence, you run into another level of problems.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say we're certifying a lit support professional, a paralegal, but you mentioned bar associations. People start to get a little nervous when mere mortals such as we mention certifying attorneys to do anything.
Well, you know, it seems to me that there is the rise of a new profession. It's really the e-discovery professional. And the skill sets necessary. There is no course currently except the School of Hard Knocks for the e-discovery professional. But I think in the fullness of time, you're going to see, perhaps it's going to be at the paralegal schools, perhaps it's going to be, you know, as Tom and I have talked about, I think it's going to be more difficult to get lawyers to be deeply involved with that.
Well, and I think the reason for that, at the root of e-discovery, is there's a huge technical component of it. I mean, there's no way around. I know that right now we go out and hire forensic experts to do a piece of it, but in reality, that's a big piece of what you need to know.
Yes.
And that just doesn't I don't know that. I mean, you can't teach that part of technology in the law school. It's just, I mean, it's more of a science than it is an art, and you have to almost, unfortunately for some of us older folks, you almost have to.
Thank you for looking at him, by the way.
Well, I did include us all in that, but you almost have to have grown up when in a DOS background.
Yes.